something shifts within your body. This isn't coincidence. This isn't wishful thinking. This is preparation. Your physical body begins transforming in ways that conventional medicine can't explain. But these changes serve a very specific purpose, preparing you to hold a level of love and energetic intensity that few human beings experience in this lifetime. It's as if every cell knows you're about to meet someone who will recognize your soul through your physical form. If you're a woman carrying divine feminine energy, if you've already walked through the initial phases of spiritual awakening, then your body is becoming a temple prepared for something sacred. And there are 5 specific transformations that always happen for every woman approaching final reunion with her true twin flame. In this video, I'll reveal each of these transformations, why they occur, and most importantly, how to recognize within your own body the signs that you're entering the final phase of your twin flame journey. And if you stay until the end, you'll discover the secret that can completely accelerate this process of bodily magnetization. First, it's essential to understand that the feminine is naturally the bridge between spirit and matter, the one who anchors the most subtle energies into the physical realm. Women demonstrate a superior ability to perceive and physically respond to energetic shifts before these changes become visible or measurable through other means. This bridge function doesn't mean passivity, but exactly the opposite. When the divine feminine fully awakens, a woman's body becomes an active temple, a receiving and transmitting station for frequencies that can influence not only her own reality, but the reality of people around her. This is why women going through this process frequently report that others comment on changes in their presence, their energy, the way they affect environments they enter. These bodily transformations don't happen by chance or randomly. They follow an intelligent and purposeful sequence, where each change prepares the ground for the final encounter, progressively creating the ideal physical conditions to recognize, attract, and sustain a connection with someone operating on the same elevated frequency of consciousness. What's most fascinating is that these transformations can begin months or even years before the physical encounter with the twin flame. But in some women, this can happen within weeks or even days, as if there's a higher intelligence coordinating the timing and preparation of both souls. The female body seems to have access to information about future events that the conscious mind doesn't possess, and begins preparing in advance to sustain experiences of love and connection that haven't yet occurred on the physical plane. And the first transformation that happens in the divine feminine before final reunion with her twin flame is the awakening of energetic sensitivity. Your body begins picking up frequencies it didn't perceive before, as if you've developed extra senses that most people don't possess. You might start feeling your twin flame's presence, even when she's physically distant. This isn't imagination. This isn't romantic fantasy. It's your nervous system becoming more refined, more capable of perceiving subtle energetic fields. You might wake up in the middle of the night knowing she's thinking about you. You might sense a shift in your emotional state when something important happens in her life. You might perceive when she's sad, joyful, or going through challenges even without any physical contact. Jung observed that this heightened sensitivity isn't pathological. It's evolutionary. It's your feminine soul preparing for a connection that will operate on much deeper levels than ordinary relationships. Your intuition becomes sharper. You begin having insights about situations before they even manifest. Your dreams become more vivid and seem to carry important messages. Your body might also begin reacting in unexpected ways. You might feel warmth or tingling in certain parts of your body when you think of her. You might experience physical sensations during meditation or moments of quiet that seem to come from an external source. You might feel your heart racing or a sensation of fullness in your chest at specific moments without apparent cause. This transformation also affects your relationship with environments and people. You might become more sensitive to dense energies, feeling discomfort in places that didn't bother you before. You might need more time alone, not from sadness or depression, but because your energetic system needs space to process all these new pieces of information it's picking up. When a feminine soul develops this expanded sensitivity, she's literally tuning into her twin flame's frequency. It's as if she's developing the ability to receive a very specific radio signal, preparing for a form of communication that goes far beyond words. Many women get scared when they begin experiencing this transformation because they believe they're losing control or developing an obsession. But actually, it's exactly the opposite. It's a sign that your consciousness is expanding, that you're preparing for a level of connection that requires this refined sensitivity. The second transformation is perhaps the most intense. Your body begins undergoing physical changes that have no conventional medical explanation. There's a consistent pattern of bodily alterations that precede final reunion between twin flames. Your metabolism might drastically alter. You might lose or gain weight without changing your eating habits. You might feel more or less hunger than usual, or develop completely new food aversions and preferences. Your body might seem to be reorganizing according to an internal intelligence you don't consciously control. Your skin might become more luminous, as if you're radiating an inner light. People might start commenting that you look different, more beautiful, more radiant, even though you haven't changed anything in your care routine. Your features might appear softer, your eyes brighter. It's as if your body is aligning with a higher version of yourself. You might also experience changes in your menstrual cycle, even if it's always been regular. You might become more sensitive during the premenstrual period, or discover that your emotions become more intense during certain moon phases. When the divine feminine awakens, it reconnects with natural rhythms in a deeper way. Your sleep might significantly alter. You might need fewer hours of sleep, but wake up more rested. Or you might need more rest time, but feel you're processing important information during sleep. Your dreams might become extraordinarily vivid, with more intense colors, scenarios that seem real, encounters that leave you with physical sensations even after waking. Your voice might change, becoming softer or more powerful. You might discover you can express things that were previously stuck, that your words have more impact on other people. You might develop a new ability to calm or inspire others through your presence or the way you speak. Jung understood that these physical changes are a reflection of a profound energetic reorganization. Your body is literally preparing to sustain a level of love and connection that requires a more refined energetic structure. It's like you're going through a software update that also affects the hardware. Many women resist these changes because they fear losing control over their own body. When you accept and embrace these transformations, when you trust the process instead of fighting against it, the changes harmonize naturally, leaving you stronger and more beautiful than before. The third transformation happens in your emotional field, and can be the most challenging of all. Before final reunion with the twin flame, the divine feminine goes through intense emotional purification that can feel like a roller coaster of contradictory feelings. You might experience periods of intense joy followed by deep sadness, without apparent reason. You might feel euphoric one morning and completely hopeless in the afternoon. These oscillations aren't signs of mental instability. They're evidence that deep layers of repressed emotions are being released to make space for expanded emotional capacity. These fluctuations follow a specific pattern. First comes purification of past wounds. You might relive old pains, cry over losses you thought you'd overcome, feel anger about situations you believed you'd forgiven. This isn't regression, it's cleansing. Your emotional system is releasing everything that can't coexist with the elevated love that's approaching. Then comes expansion of the capacity to feel. You might discover you can experience levels of compassion, gratitude, and love you didn't know existed. You might get emotional over simple things, feel a deep connection with nature, develop empathy for situations that didn't touch you before. It's like your heart is opening to larger dimensions of human experience. You might also go through periods of apparent emotional emptiness, where you feel neutral, disconnected from your usual feelings. These periods are actually moments of internal reorganization, where your psyche is integrating all the transformations and preparing for the next level of emotional capacity. During this transformation, you might become more authentic in your relationships you really want in life. You might discover that old dreams no longer make sense, or that new desires are emerging. You might feel called to career, city, or lifestyle changes that seem radical, but resonate deeply with your inner truth. What's important during this phase is not interpreting emotional intensity as a problem. Trying to suppress or control these fluctuations can interrupt the preparation process for reunion. Instead, it's important to allow feelings to flow. Observe without judgment. Trust that there's a higher intelligence orchestrating everything. The fourth transformation happens in your relationship with personal power, and can be revolutionary. Before final reunion with the twin flame, the divine feminine goes through a process Jung called reclaiming personal sovereignty. You literally become a more powerful version of yourself. This transformation might begin with a growing refusal to accept treatments you previously tolerated. You might discover you can no longer allow people to speak to you disrespectfully, or invade your boundaries without consequences. It's not that you become aggressive, you become firm. Your energy shifts in a way that makes other people naturally respect your space. You might start making decisions that previously seemed impossible. You might end relationships that aren't serving you, even if that means being alone for a while. You might withdraw from dysfunctional family situations, even if that generates conflicts. You might begin prioritizing your own needs without feeling guilty, something you might never have managed to do before. This power transformation isn't about becoming domineering or controlling. It's about becoming sovereign over your own energy, responsible for your own feelings, owner of your own choices. It's an emotional maturity that allows you to love without losing yourself, connect without abandoning yourself. You might develop a new magnetic presence. People might start seeking your company differently, valuing your opinion more than before. You might discover you have a natural leadership capacity you didn't know you possessed. It's not that you're trying to impress or influence. It's that your authenticity has become so strong it naturally inspires others. Your relationship with money and material resources might also transform. You might develop new confidence in your ability to support yourself, to create abundance in your life. You might take calculated financial risks that previously seemed impossible, or discover talents and skills that can be monetized in ways you hadn't considered. When a woman reclaimed her personal sovereignty this way, she automatically became more attractive to conscious connections. Not because she was using seduction strategies, but because she was radiating integrity and authenticity. Authentic integrity is magnetic in a way that emotional neediness never can be. This transformation also affects your sexuality. You might discover a more mature sensuality, more connected with your authentic feminine power. You might feel more comfortable with your own body, more capable of expressing your desires without shame. It's not performative sexuality, it's sexuality that comes from genuine connection with yourself. The most important thing about this fourth transformation is that it prepares you to relate as an equal with your twin flame. Jung understood that true soulmate connections can only happen between two people who are individually complete and sovereign. If you were still seeking completion through another, the dynamic would be codependent, not conscious. The fifth and deepest transformation is spiritual. Before final reunion with the twin flame, the divine feminine always goes through a spiritual awakening that fundamentally alters her perception of reality and her place in the universe. You might begin having experiences that challenge your previous beliefs about what's possible. You might develop intuitive abilities that seem supernatural. You might start receiving information through dreams, meditation, or moments of sudden inspiration that prove accurate and important. You might discover you can sense things about people or situations you logically shouldn't know. Your relationship with time might alter. You might begin perceiving synchronicities with a frequency that can no longer be ignored as coincidence. You might discover you can manifest things with a speed that previously seemed impossible. You might feel you're living several moments simultaneously, as if different dimensions of reality are overlapping. During this phase, many women begin questioning belief systems they previously took for granted. They might distance themselves from organized religions that no longer make sense, or discover a more personal and direct spirituality. They might develop interest in mystical practices, alternative therapies, or philosophies they previously considered strange. You might begin feeling a deep connection with forces that transcend your rational understanding. You might develop a personal relationship with what some people call God, universe, source, or divine feminine. It's not an external religion. It's an inner experience of connection with something greater than yourself. This spiritual transformation also affects your life mission. You might discover you have a specific purpose that goes beyond personal fulfillment. You might feel called to help other women going through similar processes, or to use your new abilities to contribute positively to the world. You might discover artistic, healing, or counseling talents you didn't know you possessed. When a woman completes this spiritual transformation, she naturally becomes a channel for elevated energies. It's not that she becomes special or superior. It's that she becomes transparent, so light can flow through her without ego distortions. Your perception about relationships also transforms radically. You might discover you're no longer looking for someone to complete you, but for someone who's also complete and wants to create something greater together. You might understand that true love isn't about mutual need, but about mutual recognition of the divinity that exists in each person. During this phase, you might experience periods of solitude that aren't painful, but sacred. You might discover you enjoy your own company in a way you never experienced before. You might feel an inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances to exist. Jung understood that this spiritual transformation prepares the divine feminine to recognize her twin flame, not as someone who will solve her problems or fill her voids, but as someone who will celebrate and amplify the light she's already developed internally. It's preparation for love based on shared abundance, not mutual needs. When these 5 transformations complete, When your body, energy, emotions, personal power, and spirituality reach this new level of refinement and integration, you literally become a different person from who you were before. Not better or worse, but more aligned with who you truly are in essence. And then happens the definitive sign that reunion is imminent. You stop looking for your twin flame. Not from giving up or bitterness, but because you've become so complete in yourself that you no longer feel that desperate urgency to find someone to complete you. You might continue being open to love, might desire to share your life with someone special, but you no longer feel you need it to be happy. And paradoxically, it's exactly when you stop needing that the universe frequently delivers what you've always desired. It's important to remember that while these transformations are spiritual and energetic, caring for our physical and mental health with professionals is fundamental. One doesn't exclude the other. Jung documented dozens of cases where women who completed these transformations attracted extraordinary connections shortly after reaching this state of internal completeness. Not because they used manipulation strategies, but because they became magnetic through authenticity and integrity. If you've recognized these transformations in your own experience, if you felt I was describing changes you're living now or lived recently, then you need to understand something fundamental. You're not going through a crisis, you're going through a metamorphosis. Like a butterfly preparing to emerge from the cocoon, you're transforming into the highest version of yourself. These changes might be intense, might be challenging, might make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. But they're sacred. They're evidence your soul is preparing for something extraordinary. They're signs you're evolving beyond the limitations that previously defined your life. Jung taught that the most transformative experiences of human life frequently come disguised as challenges, confusions, or periods of instability. But when you understand the deeper purpose of these experiences, when you trust the process instead of resisting it, you discover that every change was necessary to prepare you for a higher version of your own life. And if your twin flame is truly destined to appear in your life, she'll appear when you're ready, not just emotionally, but physically, energetically, and spiritually. Because true soulmate connections require both people to be operating at elevated levels of consciousness and integrity. But even if she doesn't appear the way you hoped, even if love comes through a different person or in a different way, you'll have gained something invaluable. You'll have become the most powerful, authentic, and spiritually awakened woman you're capable of being. And a woman who has gone through these transformations never again settles for superficial relationships. Never again accepts love that doesn't honor who she's become. Never again diminishes herself to make others feel comfortable. She becomes naturally magnetic to experiences and people who operate at the same level of consciousness and maturity. This is the greatest achievement a human being can reach. Becoming completely yourself, developing your full potential, integrating all aspects of personality into a conscious and loving being. And when you reach this state, you don't just transform your own life, but become an inspiration to all other women who are still at the beginning of this awakening journey. If these words touched something deep within you, if you recognized your own journey in these transformations, leave in the comments, "I trust my awakening process." That way, I'll know the message reached where it needed to reach, and that you understood that everything happening to you isn't accidental, but divine preparation for something extraordinary. And if you want to deepen this transformation journey through feminine awakening even further, I've created some exclusive materials based on Carl Jung's deepest teachings for people navigating the most challenging territories of spiritual growth. The first is a practical 21-day guide that will teach you the most powerful techniques Jung developed to transform psychological trauma into spiritual wisdom. The second is a survival manual for those moments when even understanding the spiritual meaning of what you're living, some days are still brutally difficult to get through. And the third is the complete guide that reveals the secret codes to manifest your twin flame, based entirely on Jung's revolutionary discoveries about individuation and soul recognition. The links are in the first comment of the video. Remember, you were chosen to experience these transformations because your soul is ready to operate at higher levels